Hey everybody, I'm Christ. I am Disciple. You're watching my channel. I hope you guys are having a good day today. If you haven't, man, there's some exciting news and we're going to talk about it right now. If you want to be a guest on this particular show right now, all you have to do is click the link in the comment section and you should be able to get access to this show. I'm going to, put the link back in the comment section because I think YouTube just rejected my comment for some reason. But we will put the link back in the comment section in a minute, so don't worry. We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, exciting news. First of all, 3 more days before Zack Snyder's Justice League teaser trailer comes out, and I know a lot of you guys are very excited. And he just posted up a picture of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, giving the Wonder Woman signal like this. I think she did it this way though. Did it this way. She did it this way, which is really cool because this is like a peace symbol, double peace symbol, which is really cool. I just saw it on Twitter. Awesome stuff, man. Remember, you guys can comment in the chat section, and I'm very amped. I'm very excited for this. They're two. DC DC Fandom is going to be awesome. Okay, I went into the DC Fandom site and I checked out all of the stuff that's inside of the DC Fandom site. I'm really excited about it because what I saw there was, you have animation sections, you have the behind the scenes sections, right? You got the major hall in the center where all of the stuff is going to be happening 3 times for the day. So you can watch reruns, replays, we call encore presentations. I have to go on to DC Fandom. We won't be able to see it on YouTube. We got to see the actual DC Fandom site itself. DJLNF, shout out to you. Good morning, bro. Long time no see, my brother. How are you doing? You go onto the DC Fandom site. So there's all of this packed stuff in there. Of course, we do not know what the surprise announcements will be or surprise guests on there. So we'll have to look forward to that. But I am super stoked for this Justice League trailer that's going to be coming out. What it showed was Wonder Woman. She was doing this sign. There was some fire in the background. It looked like it was just at the end of a war or something. And Gal Gadot there showing the sign, the Wonder Woman sign in the background was really awesome to watch at. I'm very excited. I don't know about you guys, but I am super stoked for this thing. Oh man, and he's just, like how he did the previews, where they were. You remember that? Where they showed Cyborg and Batman and Wonder Woman and the Flash. I'm really super stoked. I'm super excited for it. We saw Wonder Woman again. So the first countdown, the 6th day, I believe they started with the Hall of Justice setting that was at least in the theatrical cut, it was called the Hall of Justice setting. I believe it was Wayne Manor, inside of Wayne Manor. The second picture that we saw was a picture of the statue inside of where Diana was working, right? That was the second one. The third one, which was day 4. I'm trying to remember what the third one was. You guys help me with what was the third picture? What was the third picture? Oh man, listen, I'm so stoked and excited for this. I'm very excited. I can't tell you guys how much my face keeps on smiling when I think about this stuff on a daily basis. And we're going to talk a little bit about Zack Snyder. We're going to talk a little bit about his directions. We'll talk a little bit about Man of Steel. We'll talk a little bit about Batman v Superman and how these movies lead up to, man, Zack Snyder's Justice League, man. I'm very excited about this. Like I said to you guys, very excited about it. Very amped about it. And I can't believe, man, we're getting this movie. Now, the excitement that I had when Justice League, the first trailer dropped, and then the second trailer, and then the third one, is the same kind of excitement that's building inside of me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting super excited for it, And the fact that Zack Snyder gets to do whatever the hell he wants to do with this movie, oh man, gets me even more stoked. I'm so super excited for this movie. Now, if you guys want to join on here like a guest, I'm going to try to put the StreamYard link back into the chat section. DJ LNF, He says Zack's workbench was one of the pictures. Oh, that was the fourth one? All right. Okay, I didn't see the fourth one. The third one, sorry. The third one was Zack Snyder working on his workbench. Oh my God. Listen, guys, if you're not excited, Zack Snyder, pick a shades. What's up, my dude? And you're gonna jump on here in a minute. Just hold on a second. Just hold on a second. If you guys are not excited for this movie, listen. Zack Snyder originally had to do a 2-hour cut for, think about this now, 2-hour cut for the theatrical cut, right? That was what Warner Brothers was demanding. And we got the theatrical cut, it was 2 hours, right? But he actually originally had 3 hours and 30-something minutes of footage, right? Remember, it was 2:14, so it was 3 hours, 34 minutes, I think, of footage that he really wanted to put out. Now listen to this, folks. Zack Snyder is going to give you unadulterated Zack Snyderisms because he's bringing out the Snyder Cut, which is going to be 4 hours and something minutes long. Oh my God. Oh my God. So if y'all ain't tripping over this shit, because we're gonna see Zack Snyder in all his glory, what he really wanted to do, what the studio said, oh, he had to compromise shit, right? Here, he don't have to compromise nothing. He gets to do whatever the hell he wants to do. Oh my God. So if you guys ain't tripping out about this, I'm very excited about it. Shout out to Jay Niemeyer. I hope I pronounced your name properly. If you guys want to hop on here, hold on a second. I'm gonna put the link in the link section in a second. But I just wanted to say this first before I get it out of my system. Yo, we're getting what we want. Now, the only thing I want to say though, to each and every one of us, is there are two things I saw RT the Snyder Cut talking about on Twitter, which I want to just share with you guys. Which is, the first one is, don't forget to continue supporting and tweeting and sharing all of the projects we as the Snyder Cut, the Release the Snyder Cut members have pushed for. That is, always we're going to look at suicide prevention. We need to continue donating towards that. The t-shirts, the tweets, the monies we raise. 2, let's never forget, this was about art. So we have all these art competitions and art contests, and we need to keep it going. Keep it going. Just because a movie comes out doesn't mean that we stop doing this. Let's keep on doing it as fans. These are great things. Of course, the other one, of course, is Feeding America. And I just wanted to make a donation online, so I tried to donate towards that cause. We've been doing it, partnered with Subway and all those guys. And we need to keep those relationships going. We need to keep that stuff rolling, even after the movie comes out and so on. All these good things that came out of looking to bring about this movie should continue onwards, right? But of course, the icing on the cake is the movie itself. I can't wait to see it because I love all of Zack Snyder stuff. So I can't wait to see this. Now, there's people out there. Shout out to Jay. I hope I pronounced your name properly. Naeem Mayer. Do you think it's going to be a series or a really long movie? Listen, they could do it both ways if they want. They could do it as a really long movie and exactly pick a shades. Pick a shade says, why not both movie and series? I agree. So they could do it as a grand debut. Now, the thing with the series is, if you know how the series ends, then maybe it's not a good idea to show the movie first. So maybe doing it as a series might be the better idea, okay? Because then Zack gets to really be Zack, and you guys got to tune in. It's kind of like it'll be like Game of Thrones, right? You got to tune in the next time and the next time, and it'll be more like television, but cable television with no restrictions, right? So the series could be great, actually, depending on how, because now you can have the cliffhangers or whatever, and then you ask yourself what's going to happen next. So you don't see the whole entire movie, you see it in pieces. But after the series is done, then he could just do it as a one full-fledged movie. And it is so much support for it, they can even put it in the theater after, because they already got a fan base. See, the thing with Zack Snyder is this: he already has a fan base. He already has people ready to gobble up what he offers to the table. It's just what it is, and it's a lot of them. So it doesn't matter if he does it in a series or if he does it as a full-fledged movie. And if it's very successful as a series and he puts it out as a movie, he can put it out in the theaters even for how long, if the theaters can open back up, because we got a COVID-19 environment in here. Jay Nehemiah says, I agree. However, they release it, I will watch. Because right now, we don't care. Like, we don't care. Whatever you want to put it as, let's just see it. Right? Because we know it, whatever format it's in. Sorry about that. I just hit my camera, my foot. Whatever format it's in, we're gonna see it anyway. We don't care, right? DJ LNF says, I'm hearing it won't be called Zack Snyder's Justice League. Hearing WB wants to call it the Snyder Cut. Fuck yeah. Whatever they want to do. Shit, I'm not like, whatever they want to do is fine, right? Whatever they want to do is fine. I don't care. Like, just let me see it. Now, I think that, hold on a second. I don't think they will call it the Snyder Cut because they have to have the title of the film. They have to have the title of the film in the film. And if it's going to be a series, they don't have to worry about it being a movie. So WB actually, it will work in their best interest to just call it Zack Snyder's Justice League or Justice League, and you have Zack Snyder's name below or whatever. But they need to differentiate it from the theatrical cut. So they have to do something and Zack Snyder's going to tell us Saturday, which is not but 3 days away, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to tell us Saturday what they're going to call it. DJ LNF said that. So I'm hearing it won't be called Zack Snyder's Justice League. Hearing WB wants to name it Zack the Snyder Cut. I don't care what they call it, but they'll need to use Justice League inside of it so that people know what movie it is. So they can't just call it the Snyder Cut. I don't think so. Man, I'm very excited about this. Now, let me get you guys up on Picochet says the Justice League. You can't just call it the Justice League. The reason being that people are going to confuse it with the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut was the Justice League. or Justice League. Well, I think it was just Justice League, but the Justice League now. They'll need to call it Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I know Zack Snyder's name, but WB gives him permission. It should be able to be done, because this is what we press for as fans. We asked WB to release the Snyder Cut, so it's fair to have Zack Snyder's name in this cut because this is his thing. So I don't see a problem with it. Let me just put this so the guests can come into the guest area here. Let me. Very excited about this movie, man. Very excited about this movie, and I think that you guys should be excited too. I know you guys have seen everything on Twitter, and we went through so much to get to this point that I'm going to be super stoked when it happens. And listen, man, listen. When it comes to seeing what's possible for fans, because I also looked at the on comicbook.com, they had sort of like a short synopsis of how the Snyder Cut came to be, how we as fans were able to make it possible. And then there's a guy from a journalist who was on JusticeCon, and he was talking about, seeing if he was chronicling this thing in the proper order, because this has never happened before. This has never happened before. This is something that is not only epic, but it is something that's it's a breakthrough in any kind of entertainment, where the fans literally pushed for a specific kind of entertainment and got it. Let me just try and put the link in here. Let me try again. Hold on a second. Just hold on a second. I'm just trying to get it in there. If it doesn't work, well, I tried. Hold on a second. All right. Right. So if you guys can see right now in the chat section, um, if you see in the chat section right now, I posted a link in there. So pick a shades. He says Justice League of insert a name here. That's a good idea as well. But remember, it still confused everybody because Zack Snyder was credited as the director of Justice League. Okay, he was credited as director of Justice League. So either way, it's still not going to be the best thing in the world for us to be able to have to. Don't forget to mute your mic, whoever's jumping on here as a guest. It will still be best to all right. Yeah, don't forget to mute your mic when you're not talking, right? So I just want to finish my thought. It'll be best if they call it just Zack Snyder's Justice League, like I said before, because yeah, okay, the first Justice League trailer was the first Justice League trailer was also the first Justice League movie, sorry, was also credited as Zack Snyder's movie, right? He was the director. So that if you call it Zack Snyder's Justice League, some people are going to say, okay, but wasn't Zack Snyder the director of the last one? But it distinguishes the movie from the other movie. I know it's kind of controversial, but anyway. Shades, that's the name. Shades. I always think of Pikachu. Shades, what's up, man?
Hey, does this work? Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, good.
So what's happening?
It's pretty good, pretty good. Hey, does this work? Does the microphone work?
Everything's working. Everything's working. I can hear your microphone, everything.
Headphones
Jay,
don't work. Hold on, I'm switching to a... Nope, this won't work either.
Okay, so Jay Niemeyer, he said, are we getting a trailer?
Keep talking, I'll get on a better headset.
Okay. Yeah, Jay Niemeyer says, are we getting a trailer at DC Fandom this weekend? And the answer is absolutely. Now, let me give you guys a little breakdown of DC Fandom. For those of you who don't know, DC Fandom is going to be a 24-hour event that's going to happen this weekend, this Saturday, the 22nd. All right. And as a result of that, hold on a second. Let me just check something here. Right. The 22nd. So what is going to happen is, the 22nd or 23rd? It might be the 23rd because today is the 19th. The important thing to understand is that at DC Fandom, we're going to have the launch. We're going to have trailers and sneak peeks of Wonder Woman 84. We're going to have the Batman movie. We're going to get some teasers on that. We're going to get information on Suicide Squad that's coming up. Okay, and we're going to get the title of it and everything. And we're also looking at, there's certain animated movies that came out. We'll have that, but it'll be in the animated section. You also have places where you can draw, express yourself in DC Fandom. If you have a laptop, you can watch DC Fandom on YouTube or on some other platform. But if you don't, if you have a mobile phone like I have, then you have to actually go to the DC Fandom site, which you can find on my Twitter feed. My Twitter handle is AEPGM42. So you go on there, and what you will find is at AEPGM42. Sorry. When you go on there, you can go and look down my profile page, and you'll see DC Fandom is down there. Okay. I've changed my hashtag from APGM42 release Anson Phillips, sorry, release the Snyder Cut, hashtag release now to Anson Phillips. Thank you, Warner Brothers and AT&T for the Snyder, for Zack Snyder's Justice League. So that's what I have. I changed my handle because we got it. We got the cut. And you know, there's a lot behind the scenes stuff that was going on, and we heard about with Jeff Johns and Zack Snyder, but hopefully those things have been resolved. Got a lot of things to talk about with DC Fandom, but DC Fandom is going to be lit because they also, now people are saying that the DC Universe Online, which is a streaming service, they say that they would have been cut and everything would have just gone to HBO Max. But I'm hearing that DC Online might still be in play, so you can still watch series and shows and stuff on DC Online. But HBO Max is going to kind of pull together some of the stuff, you know, all the movies and all that kind of stuff you can see now streaming on HBO Max.
Production being awesome there.
Extremely awesome. Shout out to Pika Shade in the building. Yes, sir. So Pika Shade, man, we chopping it up. I'm just gonna get into the chat section a little bit. Film Scorn, he says, I'd just like to know how people are burning the original copies of film in response to fandom. Oh my God. What do you mean by burning the original copies? What do you mean by that?
Taking them and taking the copies and throwing them into the fire. However, that's pretty much, that's not very.
Yo,
since they're plastic, they're plastic. Burning plastic is not a very good thing to do.
Listen. You know what's funny to me? How you guys are just like atrociously, you hate the first theatrical cut. Film Score, what is up? Fandom is the 22nd on Saturday. Thank you very much, sir. Today is Wednesday, though. So let me see. Today's the 19th. Is today the 19th or the 18th then?
19th. And 19th, my birthday is in the month. In 1 month.
When is your birthday?
It's 1 month. It's September 19th. So 1 more month.
All right. Looking forward to it. So fandom starts. It depends on what part of the world you're in. If you're on the Pacific coast or the west coast of the United States of America, it starts at 10 a.m. For me, since we are 3 hours behind them, it starts for me at 1. Okay? It starts for me at 1.
That's that. So in my case, it is.
So for you, Pika Shade, it will start. How many hours behind are you? Do you know?
I have a friend in Arizona, and I know that I'm 10 hours ahead of her. So.
Woo! So then you means you're going to be 12 in the morning. 12 in the morning. You got to go. But it has reruns, so you don't have to watch it live. And I'm hearing that some of this stuff is pre-recorded, so we'll see how it goes. But hopefully we can get an interface with them to see. I wish they had put it up on YouTube, you know, like how they did Justice Con. But apparently they have a virtual. They're gonna have a virtual studio and a virtual this and a virtual that. So it's gonna be really awesome. And you know, Jim Lee designed it and everything, right? So it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Say what you want about him being the current head publisher for DC, but that man knows how to draw and design.
Woo! Yeah. Jet Li. Yeah, I'm Jim Lee, man. Hey, talking about that, I just saw behind. I look at I forgot what the name of the YouTube channel is. The guy who does breakdowns on trailers and stuff, and he's DC, Marvel, whatever. I forgot what his name is, but he was showing a Superman movie that's coming out. The Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Animated. I like that. It looks good. So I'm gonna check it
yeah.
out.
Looks kind of like Archer. You know Archer.
Archer.
The style looks the same as in the
Yeah,
Archer.
I like the animation. Yeah, I really like the animation. You know what I'm saying? Film Scorn says, hope we get a sneak peek of Batman: The Long Halloween animated film. Woo, okay, okay,
That's
okay.
gonna
I'll look
be
forward to that too.
I
Film Scorn says the original copies of Justice League, they are burning those, I heard. Well, I don't know if they're the original copies, but you mean the theatrical cuts. That's what you're talking about?
not
And Jay
environmentally
Nehmer
safe
says,
because they're plastic.
Jay Niemeyer says
Is this gonna be a
Fandom is
movie?
going to be fire for real, baby, for real. I can't wait. I can't wait. Film Scorn says some of the panels run into Sunday. Maybe where you live, they run into Sunday. For me, if I'm not using encore presentations, because Zack Snyder, for me, Zack Snyder said, because he's in California side, he said that his panel is going to come on at 2:45. So you're looking out for Zack Snyder stuff, Pacific time, 2:45. For you, Pikachu, that's going pick a shade. Sorry, that's going to be
Yeah.
4. That's going to be 4. That's going to be 4 something in the morning.
Oh,
You're gonna have to see that at 4:45 in the morning. For me, it's
well,
gonna be at 5:45 in the afternoon. So I can't wait for that. But I'm gonna look at everything. Wonder Woman, because I want to see how Cheetah looks. They showed a little
yeah,
preview of Cheetah. Man, god damn. I can't wait for
yeah.
Wonder
They
Woman
showed
84 either.
they showed Barbara Minerva in
In
the
a picture. And they showed
sweater,
that.
bad hair Kyle, and then in the fur and a haircut got shorter mode, and
Yeah.
yeah, the way how when she actually is Cheetah, that's something we haven't seen.
And you know what's cool
How would
about it,
how
Patty Jenkins and her direction? I find that Patty Jenkins, she gradually evolves the character. Kind of like what Zack Snyder was doing. He's gradually evolving the character. Even when we saw the Joker movie, the character's gradually evolving before your face. I love that kind of take on how they create these characters and have the subtle evolution of them. So I want to see what Minerva looks like when she evolves finally into Cheetah. And I also want to see how Gal Gadot de-evolves in terms of powers and stuff into this weakened kind of god. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, and there's going to be magic involved in this one. Some of the
yeah
panels run into Sunday mainly for the shows and movies, says Film Scorn, with the exception of Rocksteady game panel, which is only airing once, I believe. There's also a continuous panel and discussion and stuff in the other rooms, in the other halls. They're more continuous. They go from morning to evening. So that's also something that's really cool. And there's something for kids. There's a kids hall. There's the different panels for different sections of the DC fandom for everybody. So I like that. Jay Niemeyer says Snyder is going to steal the freaking show. I hope so. You know,
yeah
I mean, some of you guys are looking forward to the Batman. What do you got to say, Pikachu? Pick Shades. I could keep on calling you Pikachu.
yeah, it's gonna be a huge effing great show to be on. If what we have seen has been, like they said, only 10% of the original movie or theatrical release was from Snyder, and the things that he has been showing to us have been, well, it's just tip of the iceberg to like Zack has been saying. Then yeah, think about it, how the tip and the entire iceberg, how much stuff and which parts of the iceberg he's going to show and which parts of the iceberg are not going to be shown. That is
We're
really
finally
something.
gonna get
Something.
Steppenwolf. We might even hear Steppenwolf, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We know that I've heard some talk about the Green Lanterns because Green Lanterns are definitely going to be in the movie. How do we know this? Josh Whedon replaced some of the Green Lantern stuff with the history lesson with a Green Lantern in there. So we knew that Zack Snyder was going to surprise us with the Green Lanterns. We know the Martian Manhunter is coming in there now.
Yeah.
So man, the thing that really excites me about seeing this trailer is we know Zack Snyder is a guy who's very tricky. He's very crafty. He makes you watch his video over and over to catch everything inside of there because there's always something you're gonna miss. So, and I know this Justice League is gonna be creepier and scarier than the original theatrical cut, which is what I was looking forward to. You know, that anticipation of this clash and the dangers involved, and all the problems involved. So now we're gonna get this Snyder cut that's gonna be so much more like, you know, how BVS and Man of Steel was. So I'm very excited for it for that reason. It's not the typical comic book movie. It's going to be something where there's a lot of stakes. You know, not to knock Marvel, but they're nowhere near in the sphere, in my opinion, of what Zack Snyder has been putting. Just not. And that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, the plot structure is also something that's how much they're going to fit into those 4 hours. Or 3 or how much
of this is going to be
up there. Like I said, the history lesson, which was supposed to be how the movie opens, and then there's the what is between them, and as in what Batman was originally doing instead of that Joss Whedon directed scene. That throw that out of the way. What Batman was actually doing there before he went to see Aquaman, and then there's the scene with Barry and Iris when he saves her from the car crash in that scene that we saw on that where that puts is in the film. Then there's Cyborg's original scenes, the football game, and then there was when he was walking with a hoodie in the somewhere on the.
What we talking about? Let me tell you how crazy it is, right? Because the guy who broke the thing on it was, and I even talked against him. I had videos that talked against him. This movie is epic. What I mean by that is, even the order that you're saying it in is not even the order. And on top of that, think about it. Darkseid's in this movie. In none of the trailers and none of the stuff that we saw before was Darkseid ever seen, right? Now Zack Snyder, we know Darkseid's there. You know what I'm saying?
Except that what Zack showed us. We just saw what Zack showed us.
Exactly.
In Steppenwolf's place.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Ashraf Faruqi, he was the guy that broke it and was telling us, you know, about Steppenwolf and how he was there, and then the spirit of his mother, or I think it was Darkseid mother, I'm not too sure which one, was inside of the mother boxes and all this crazy shit. And like the Sod's in there, and like, god damn, there's a lot of other characters in this movie that we don't even know about. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, god damn it. It's gonna be, I'm telling y'all, man, it's gonna blow your freaking mind. It's gonna blow your mind. I'm looking forward to it so much, but I have to calm myself down, you know. And so the Snyder Cut obviously is a big part of it's a foundation, a pillar block of DC fandom. But also, in addition, there's going to be some surprise guests. Who you guys think is going to be there as surprise guests in DC fandom? Think about all the movies and all the parts of it that going to be shown in DC fandom. So we'll have the Batman's going to be there. We're going to have Suicide Squad panel is going to be there. Wonder Woman panel is going to be there. The Snyder Cut's going to be there, and Shazam is going to be there. Okay, Aquaman's going to be there. We have all of that stuff is going to be in DC fandom. So the upcoming Aquaman movie, the upcoming Shazam movies. I was listening to the director as he was saying how he would want to make changes on certain things. We got the upcoming Wonder Woman movie. So Patty Jenkins,
Dwayne Johnson, definitely. Black Adam
also, that's going to be out there as well. So we have all of these DC. The Flash movie is going to be there too. So I mean, it's going to be packed, and this is 24 hours. You have all of this stuff to do. Now they're not taking a long time. It's like little snippet segments. What I mean by that is a panel doesn't stay for an hour. It's like 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. It's little samples, little snippet samples you're really getting. So you don't have a lot of time. So everything starts around 10. It wraps up around 3. Okay. So it's going to be pretty rapid, and there's a lot of stuff you want to cover. And you can also go and contribute like a fan. You can, there's the cosplay stuff that's going on. There's it's just it's like a Comic-Con, sort of like, but they do it virtually. So you submit your cosplay pictures. If you guys haven't done it, well, too bad, it's too late. But your artwork, we're going to look at the artwork and drawing and doing comics. Because if you know, we're in the digital age now, so we're not really using a lot of printed media, and this is why people were worried about comic books going out of style and stuff. And Jim Lee, a lot of comic book writers have been cut from DC, so a lot of cutting has happened on DC as of late. Executives have been cut from Warner Brothers and that deal with DC properties, and then we had the DC people who have been cut. So it's been a lot of cutting that's been going on, but at the same time, what can we look for with the comic book movies that DC have? What are we going to be seeing pressing forward? So DC Fandom brings all the fans together who like all kinds of different things. So Stargirl, all of that stuff is going to be in another. It's going to be also featured as well. All the DC stuff. Okay. Yeah. So what is that you have in your hand?
Yeah, it's part of my avatar. It's a keyblade.
Okay, a massive key.
So that since you see in my profile picture, I have the hat, the shades, and I have this.
Yeah, I saw it. Hey, talking about that, what do you guys think? Do you think that after Zack Snyder's Justice League, Zack Snyder should continue making DC movies or continue even to part 2 of Justice League? Because Chris Wong was saying on his channel, Ping Pong Flicks, that he thinks that might be something where, goes in the direction of if Justice League works out successfully, maybe a Justice League 2 or maybe something else happening down Zack's alley.
Yeah. It's going to be how the production is going to be a question area at best, because considering how well the production of the actual movie that we're getting, that happened in 2016. And so the production of this would take place now, maybe next year or the year after that.
Right.
Some people also brought up the possibility that the following movies could be done in the animated form or as CGI animation. It's kind of like the Guardians of Gaul, like which Zack did. So they could have the photorealistic CGI animations of all the characters and the actors, so that even when they have grown old and even when makeup could hide the fact that they're older than they look like, that could still show those characters as they are in their proper forms and how they are supposed to appear. So that's for me, that seems like a good compromise in going forward afterwards, if it gets the reception the same reception as it gets the anticipation.
Now, we don't know if Henry Cavill will be there or not, but let's say Henry Cavill is there. You see him on Zack Snyder's panel. Do you think that it's possible that DC and Warner Brothers could push finally for a sequel or a second Man of Steel movie? Maybe not Man of Steel, but Superman. Do you think that's possible?
It's hopeful. It's possible. It's something that it's considering how invested, how Henry is really up there, that he wants to keep playing Superman. He's not going to say that, oh yeah, I'm out. Yeah, someone else can have this and throw the costume away with it. So yeah, if they have plans to use Superman, if they get to use Superman, and if the Zack Snyder's Justice League does get the positive reaction it's supposed to get as a continuation or as a movie on its own, and Superman's return is what we were expecting and hoping it to be, then it's pretty logical that the next step should be in showing Superman going forward again. And depending on how his return is handled from the Superman point of view and the Clark Kent point of view, That's also in a showing that how he is now Superman-ing and as actually as Superman and not as Clark Kent wearing the costume, which is how I have viewed Henry's portrayal in both Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
so
I'm
that's going
looking
forward.
forward.
And look at all the Superman comics that came out after the death and return of
Exactly.
Superman. There are
And we
all
having a
those
lot
kind
of
of stories that
Superman.
could be told.
Yeah, and we also had Man of Tomorrow. We had Man of
Yeah.
Tomorrow is coming out. Then we had another Superman film just recently there, the Apocalypse thing. So I really think that this would be a great moment in time to have the Superman film. I'm super stoked and super excited if they would do something like that. In addition to that, Jay Nehemiah, he just said Flash is coming out also, and Cyborg's going to be in the Flash movie. He just said that, and
If
also,
they, maybe
you know,
considering how they've had those visions gone from director to another director to another director to another director, and now it's in the hands
well,
of the It movie director and the
well,
Birds
they're
of Prey
saying,
movies writer. It's gonna
yeah, but
be
they're saying that Cyborg will be in it because it's going to be they're going to continue that line about paradox. So they're going to do the paradox storyline, but it's just going to be portrayed a different way.
yeah,
And if you do
Flashpoint
remember, Flash
paradox.
came across to the CW and he actually was appeared with the other Flash.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's something. It could be if the movie if it does have some connection to the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event, then it could be somehow related to that Cyborg could be like maintaining or handling the cosmic treadmill as Barry
exactly
as is running in it, and that would end him up
because
with him getting to the CW world and then otherwise.
Barry mentions Victor when he appears in the CW Flash thing. And then remember, Barry also
Mhm.
shows up in Batman v Superman talking to Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, that's actually something that so far
So
we haven't seen the others.
what I'm saying is
Yeah.
Barry's
But
going across different multiverses.
yeah.
He's going across different
However,
multiverses.
the scene in Batman v Superman where Barry appeared to Bruce, that's still up to debate if it's gonna be retcon to have happened in the Flash movie or if it's gonna be
It's not
if
going to
it's
be
gonna
retcon.
going to
That's what I'm
have
trying to
something in
say.
the Zack Snyder movie.
No, it can't be retcon. My point is Barry is the retcon. He's the retcon tool. He can go between universes. So Barry, basically now they added to that lore in a way because if you think about it, Barry went back in time with a different type of suit, remember, to see Bruce. And the continuity in Justice League, we're going to see how Barry goes back in time. Remember
Yes.
when Barry was speeding through the Speed Force, going between buildings and stuff? I think Barry went back in time and talked to Bruce.
Yes,
So
that is
for the
something
first
that
time, we're
has
gonna see. Yeah, we're gonna see that shit in Justice League. Like they cut out a lot
yeah.
of great shit
By
that
the
would have
way,
really
by the
made the
way,
movie awesome.
yeah. By the way, hey, if the Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to be turned into being a series kind of done,
Right, right.
then there's a possibility to edit Barry's point of view in the nightmare background and going back in time in an episode. That is a
Yeah.
possibility that they could use. That
Yes.
is how it will be done because there won't be need for an entire movie of Barry going there, here, and there. It could be
No.
done. It could be that's just squeezed into an episode in the series that the Justice League is going to be.
Yes. And my
That's a
point being,
possibility we can work with.
but this is what I'm saying. The DCEU is one universe,
Yeah,
right?
that's yes.
But then Joker, the movie Joker we just saw, that's another universe. That's separate.
Yeah, yes. But
So
there's also hyper time.
right. So you got Jay Nehemiah, he's saying the Flash movie is going to be Flashpoint and launch the concept of the multiverse, which is we already saw pieces of the
Yeah, we
multiverse.
have yeah. But
The
and as I
CW
said,
universe.
but there's also hyper time. They could also use hyper time.
Yeah.
Hypertime, for those who don't know, and if you don't know, let me explain.
Right.
Hypertime was the concept that came after the Crisis on Infinite Earth took away with the multiverse and had just the one universe. So
Right.
meaning that all the Elseworld stories that are now supposed to be different universe stories, they're supposed to
Right.
be those alternate timeline or alternate future stories, meaning that there
Right.
can be futures that can be gone from different points in time, but
Okay.
they don't. There's no, but the traveling into them is still a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more hazardous and more difficult than compared to going from universe to another universe, because when you go with time, that's how it gets as a little more complicated, but it's still
No problem.
but it's still understandable, because those timelines can exist, say, on their own without anything coming from the other sides.
Right.
That is what the
Right.
hypertime is.
Great.
Multiverse and the universes in them, they are on their own, and hypertime can connect to any different universe in the multiverse, and
Yes.
be a possible future or possible in both past or
Awesome. So
go with.
hypertime or multiverse, either way, it will help to not necessarily make one thing dependent on the other, but it can connect. That's the whole point, connecting everything together. So now
Yes.
you say, once you say DC, it's possible that this is existing on its own, but yet could be connected to something else, given hypertime or given somebody can move through hypertime, right? So that's why I
Yeah.
think J Neem. Can you just
Oh,
tell me the pronunciation of your name before you go? J Niemeyer, or is it Niemeyer?
Niemeyer. I'm gonna go with Niemeyer.
Niemeyer. I think it's Niemeyer, right? Keep the good work
Yeah.
going. Thank you very much, man. Yeah. So DC is doing something where they're bringing together everything that they have in DC fandom, and it's something not to miss. It's a 24-hour event. After it's done, I guess it's done, unless you recorded some stuff. It's done. So I'm excited to
Oh,
see it,
someone is
and
gonna.
I
It's
just wanted to talk
probably gonna
about
be.
one more thing before we go our separate ways, which is the lead up to Zack Snyder's Justice League, and just talking about Man of Steel a little bit, Batman v Superman, but in the context of leading up to Justice League, the continuity,
Yeah.
and a celebration of it. So I was looking at people's perception of Zack Snyder, his directorial way of doing things, and so on. And most people were like, Zack Snyder's visual director, great things, but there's more to Zack Snyder than that. His stories are really rich. So I
Yeah.
wanted to talk a little bit about Man of Steel. And first of all, I want to know from you, what was the one of the most impactful moments for you watching that movie? When you first saw Man of Steel, um, what part of it made you feel that this was a different kind of movie or had an impact on you as you were watching?
Yeah. Well, I think I have told you this story already back some time ago, or at least I feel like I have told it. It came back in 2013, and
Yeah.
that was the year when my parents got divorced.
Oh,
Yeah, so around that same time, when that happened, well, we had a house. We were living. We had a I had lived for about 10 years, and then suddenly we were going to sell it and move elsewhere. And of course, because at that point I didn't have no idea where would I live with mom, would I live with my dad. So the thing that got me related to Superman or Clark in the Man of Steel was the same way how he was looking for his place in the world. So
oh,
meaning that I didn't know where if I was gonna this was before I moved on my own. This is my own apartment where I'm current right now. Before this, I lived in a student apartment, and before that, I lived at my mom's place with my brother and sister. So it was that time when around when I was still supposed to look at where I was going. I was still studying for my first degree after high school. I have 3 degrees after high school. There's well, IT related degrees, and it was during that last one which I graduated from at the last winter. It was during that when I finally moved to my first apartment, which was that small student apartment. But it was that Superman was looking for his place in the world, just like those of us who have grown up and come to that certain age where we realize that now we have grown up to be. When I was over 20 at that point. It was basically that point where you should realize that what you're supposed to do. I had graduated from high school. I was on some other studies, and it was kind of like a step forward in life. Look at Clark Kent's
Wow.
life. In my opinion, the characterization of Superman or Clark Kent is that he was born Kal-El, he was raised as Clark Kent, and Superman is something that he became by creating that identity for himself. He is still Clark Kent at his very core, but Superman is something he does. So I was at that point where I was basically, this is a metaphor, not a literal metaphor, but something like that. That I was looking for where I was going in life at that point. Just like Clark Kent was looking for his place in the world, and as he saw that he was raised as a human. He felt like he was human, but he knew that he didn't belong in the world with the humans. So he needed to find what he was going to be, what he was going to do with everything he had, and all of that. It was that transition from into his first steps in becoming Superman. That is what I related most about it. The fact that he needed to move on and they take those steps in life, and it was basically, and even when he did even when he got the Superman suit at the scout ship from Jor-El, even when he was wearing the suit, he was still Clark Kent wearing the costume and not. Well, he was not Superman yet. He was still Clark Kent wearing the suit. It was that struggle, and that meant that he knew where he was supposed to go and what he was supposed to do, but there was struggle in getting to the goal he had. And the goal, he didn't have any clear vision of what he was supposed to be. He pretty much knew that he had powers and he needed to use them. So. Okay, this is hard. This is hard. So he in the movie he had helped people, but he had stayed hidden. Right. So Man of Steel was basically him stepping forward in letting the world see him save people. But there were also the struggles, the struggles and all those setbacks that came with it, and that was basically it for me too, because. After graduating from high school, it still took me 4 years before I moved to my first apartment. And just like with Superman, when he first put the suit on, he was not still Superman yet. It would took time. It took some trials, and it took a lot of work for him to get to that point where he could stand tall and know and feel that he was being Superman. He was. Basically that. Do you understand what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like even though he put on the suit, he couldn't fly properly, and he had to get more encouragement from his father before he could actually fly properly. And then you saw him excited when he was flying and enjoying the flying. But that flying served a purpose later on in the film when he needed to get to the Whirl Engine. So it's kind of like you know where you should be at, because now people have told you what significance of your family line, and you know what your bloodline is, and you kind of understand what you're supposed to do. But now, how do we get about doing that? The how is always the hardest part. It's difficult. Yeah. For me in that movie, I knew it was a different kind of movie. Even what it was advertised about it, didn't come across really like how I thought it was, because I was also at a point in a crossroads in my life where I had to leave my studies abroad and return back to my home country. And as a
Yeah.
Christian, I was trying to figure out how to best impact people in the world, because I was witnessing like crazy, but I didn't know how to impact people. I didn't know how to have a positive impact on people. And this movie, for some reason, appealed to me for different reasons, like in the trailers. But when I actually saw the movie itself, it was completely different to anything I thought it would have been. And what was so interesting and refreshing about it was seeing this young Clark Kent. I think that more the flashbacks were the more profound parts on me. The young Clark Kent, and seeing him grapple with the fact that he had a responsibility, that he had a purpose, grappling with that. To me, that was the most potent part of the movie. It was never really the suit. It was never really, even the action scenes at the end of the movie were great. But I think that young Clark Kent and his dilemmas that he had to grow up with. He didn't know who he was. He didn't know. He was very conflicted because he always felt that he had to help people because his parents used to help people. He grew up in a community where people helped one another. And so he was very conflicted when his father told him, maybe you should, just to keep it a secret, maybe you shouldn't help these people. He was very conflicted by that. And that was the moment where we got the reveal of the alien spaceship. His father came and showed him, and explained to him that he wasn't, a human being. And I think that whole part there of the movie, that small America, small town part of the movie, which reminds me a bit of Smallville, but not really. Um, that part of the movie was the most impactful part of the movie because it reminded me of real life, real situations, how people really are. I think the same thing you're saying about how Superman was conflicted within himself of how to get and had to overcome certain things to get to a certain point. I think I was a little bit ahead of you on that, and in that I was early up in the movie where young Clark Kent, he's trying to discover and find out himself. And just that little conflict in there. What is my role? What is my place? I have these things. What is my role? What is my place? That goes throughout the entire movie, of course, that theme. But that's that and the music and everything was just very organic. And so when he's talking with his dad, and his dad is trying to comfort him, his earth dad, that is, his adopted dad, and he's saying, so I have to pretend. Do I have to pretend now that I'm your son? And then his father embraces him fully by saying, no, you are my child. You are my son. I think that all those moments to me were the biggest moments of the film. That, and also when he was a child and seeing again him having to deal with all these changes that are happening to him in his adolescence. And again, that connection with him and his mother, I think is just I think most of the connections we
Yes.
speak about in
Those
the
are.
pivotal moments in these movies have to do with some parent and some child. Like with yours, it was he knew who he was with his real father, his birth father, the computer generated image of his birth father,
Yeah.
explained to him what it was really about. But I think I jumped a little bit ahead of that, where his earth father is saying, you have some sort of purpose, bro. You have some sort of purpose, kid. And I know you're not
Yes.
from here. You have a purpose and you have to find out what it is. I think that part of the movie, that part, where he was, I even like the part where he was pushing the bus out of the river,
Yes. That is
because
that. Yeah.
generally the
That was.
story ends right there, they
Yeah.
drown in the river. And just seeing him pushing that, it's so weird that the drumming and everything, it's so very emotive to me because I actually cried at that point when he was pushing the bus out of the river because we
Yeah.
thought the story was over, and then you see him. It's very regal. It's very you feel like
Yes.
the music sounds
And
like
that's
it's some
not.
sort of
Yeah.
king, rise of a
Also.
king or something.
Yeah. Also, there's the fact that it wasn't the bus scene was also kind of powerful in the mean that it kind of turned a, a bully into a friend with Pete
Right,
Ross. Yeah,
right,
he was kind of, well, bullying or teasing or something what kids at that age do. And
Right.
then he saved his life from as the bus went down. And every scene with him, even if they were short and had little dialogue, the child actor's performance in showing that he was sorry for how he had treated him, and he was sorry for seeing how Clark was treated by the other bullies that came afterwards, and he
But that was
he
all
he,
Pete
he
Russ.
reached a hand so that to Clark when he was sitting on the ground after the
Right,
bullies
but
had pushed him down, and helped him be pulled back
yeah,
up.
but even then, he wasn't really a friend. Like Pete Russ is the guy that caused this whole problem. If you think about it, he's the one that broadcast that Clark saved them from the bus, right? And he's saying that Clark has these unbelievable
Yeah,
powers. He's a
yeah,
god or
that
something,
was
right?
yeah, that's
So
one
Pete Ross caused that to
that's one
happen,
way
and
to look at it.
that's why the big strong bully guys came to test that out with Clark. So they were really
Yes,
challenging Clark
yeah,
because
and
everybody
they
felt that
and
Clark was
so what you're saying
everybody
is
felt that Clark was hiding something. He was hiding something. Everybody was like,
yeah.
this guy is not really what he is, you know? And so everybody got the feeling that this dude, something's wrong with him, you know, and we don't know if he's
So
good or evil. So they came trying to attack him. And then at the end,
and
when you see
the
people
sorry
actually,
feeling that he had on his that Pete had on his face was basically, yeah, this was my fault. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
not
I'm
only
so
that, but
sorry.
he also showed a kind of fear. He's looking at Clark through the corner of his eye at the same time while he's lifting him up. He's like lifting him up. Clark is watching him. And then he kind of watches him with a kind of still fearful look because Pete still Clark was crunching that he was crushing the he was crushing the post that he was holding on to. You know, he watched Clark, he's helping him up and everything, but you can see he's scared of him at the same time. Because Clark could have
Yeah.
just he could have annihilated everybody.
Okay. That's one. This is one flaw when it comes to Man of Steel. In the kind of one based on the few scenes with Pete Ross in Man of Steel, I had created some my own headcanon on a friendship that had developed between Clark and Pete in the after the bus incident. So they were
But even
not
so,
friends
you
at the
see that
beginning. That happened, and then eventually it turned out to be that they would become friends later. That was my
I
headcanon.
don't know. Have you ever thought that they were friends though? Because if you think about it,
Well,
they were
Pete Ross
friends, but
is
Pete was
Clark's
still
friend in the comics. He
yeah. But
was
what I'm
Clark's
saying
best
is,
friend.
yeah, but check this out. Pete Russ is the guy again that spilled the beans on Clark when Louis Lane was going investigating. Pete's the guy that spilled the
Well,
beans again. So
yes,
was he really his friend? Was he really his friend? You see what I'm
depends.
saying? So when you think about it,
Well,
Pete Russ
headcanon.
was the guy
Remember,
that
it's just
kept on
headcanon.
spilling the.
Yeah, but remember, like I said, it's just headcanon.
Yeah, but my point
Sorry, the
is, I'm
battery is
looking at Man
dying.
of
I need to
Steel.
get the
Yeah,
power
I'm
back.
looking at
Power
Man of
back.
Steel anyway, and I'm saying to myself, well, in Man of Steel, uh, these guys were afraid of Clark. Like they were afraid of him. That's why the bullies, what we call the bullies, was really guys trying to confront Clark and get him to expose himself, which he never did. Right? Because his dad was there and the other guy, and they just stopped doing what they were doing. But really, they
Yeah.
were freaked out about Clark. And who wouldn't be? That's why his father was saying, if the world only knew who you were.
Yes. Yes. That's basically those kids and Pete's actions. Those also contributed to Jonathan Kent's death. That's what it
Right.
is.
Exactly.
Basically, if
Because
there was already this kind of stuff, then and well, do you know what the SCP Foundation is?
the what?
SCP Foundation stands for Secure, Protect, Contain. It's a fictional kind of foundation, but the concept is kind of like that. If they find out some kind of entities, kind of like Clark at that point of his life, then already Pete's words in spreading rumor about Clark, and then if he had saved his father, then and people would have seen it, then this is hypothetical. This is what not might have happened, but something like kind of like the SCP Foundation would have sent people to Smallville. They would have detained all the eyewitnesses. They would have questioned everyone, and then after they had questioned everyone, they would have pulled some amnesiastic things like Men in Black things, where they take memories away from people, and then they would have made everyone, including Jonathan and Martha, forget that Clark they ever had Clark, and then they would have taken Clark to be contained at the Foundation as an Euclid or Keter class entity. That's something that could have happened. Either or something like the Foundation would have come and taken Clark.
Exactly. So it's one of those things where, like you're saying, they would try to secure, contain, and keep under wraps. And the whole point behind it is that if today any of us today found out that there was an alien existing in the world right now who is more powerful than anyone in the world, if we only knew that, we would freak out. We're not gonna. You're not gonna be happy about it. Be like, oh yeah, it's great, because you don't know what the alien can do. It might have been there for years. It might have been there for decades.
Yeah, and like I said also about the SCP Foundation, they have thousands of different entities labeled safe, Euclid, and Keter class. And Euclid is something that they can contain, but is unknown to them, and that can kill them if it does. And Keter class is those kind of entities that will kill you if they come into contact. So those kind of entities and Superman when they compare to each other, it's something that people would. What Clark was at that point of his life when he was hiding, he was essentially like kind of a Euclid class entity that the SCP Foundation would have taken and hidden from the humanity to secure the normal that we live in. That's
right. Shout out to Dan of Steel. Shout out to Dan of Steel coming into our chat. Dan of Steel says Pete Russ was always Clark's childhood best friend after being rescued. Okay.
Thanks for backing
what
me
I
up,
could
Dan.
say is, yeah, shout out to Dan. What I could say is that if I only knew, because if you feel something strange about somebody, like they're hiding something from you, you can't. I don't know. I can't be a friend of somebody like that. It scares me. So I think that Clark was a guy that a lot of people, that's why he couldn't stay one spot for too long. He had to keep on being on the move as he was searching to find out who he was. Because once people get to know him long enough, they're going to get all scared and watch him funny and stuff. So I think that was why he was mostly on the move, which to me, again, is another realistic take on Man of Steel. I only asked you what was the most effective thing in those movies because obviously it meant a lot to you because you were able to make it to where you are now, given a tragedy that happened to you. And it's very interesting that Clark also is a product of a tragedy where his parents, his family, his home world was all destroyed, and he had to start afresh. What I want to ask you now is continue from Man of Steel. What in Batman v Superman? And did you like Batman v Superman first of all? But what in Batman v Superman had a profound impact on you? I can tell you my place, but first I'll let you say your piece. And Dan is still in the chat. You can also chime in. Pick a shade. What was the?
Well, it was pretty much the. It was probably still in the how the fight ended because I like to think I still see that Batman v Superman surrounds itself around Superman. It's more a Superman movie than a Batman movie because it still has the entire plot synopsis revolves around Superman and it has more Superman characters than it has Batman characters. So basically, as we have gone to see it, the battle between Batman and Superman results in Superman saving Batman from himself. That is what I have gone to do because Batman has been. They established that Batman has been around for 20 years. around the 20 years, he has lost a Robin, and it is a common it's something a shared opinionated a fact that having at Robin is what keeps Batman from going all out insane. That Batman is insane, and but he manages to keep that insanity in check. He is not that he keeps himself sane. So with Robin gone, we saw how Batman ended up where he is. I have also talked about or mentioned to you the Lonely Place for Dying, which was the sequel, the right next story arc after the death in the family. So we need that after Robin died, Batman became, as we saw in Batman v Superman, and the role of Tim Drake in a Lonely Place for Dying was given to Superman, as in Superman saved Batman from himself. And
Yeah.
what Superman then says right before the spear comes down, you're letting him kill Martha. That
Yeah.
is what the powerful thing is when Superman says Batman for himself. Obviously, he's talking about like Luthor and Anatoly Knaisev, or aka the KGBs, who have Mark Kent held at somewhere. But that let me just say to everyone in the chat and people who are going to watch this video, even hopefully more, that when Superman said you are letting him kill Martha, he's telling Batman that he's letting Luthor and KGB kill Mark Kent, who is used as a hostage to blackmail Superman into fighting Batman. But
Right.
also there's the context in that Superman that he is telling Bruce Wayne that his insanity and the persona of Batman is is killing the memory of his parents, and the very reason
Wow.
why he is Batman in the first place. That is
Wow.
what it
I
is.
never thought of it that way. I always thought of it like when
Hold
Superman
on.
said you're letting him kill Martha. I thought he was talking about Joe Chill killing his mother because he
Yeah, I
witnessed
thought that
Joe
too at one
Chill
point, but it's also
kill his mother. You know what I'm saying? And so Batman
yeah,
now
I
sees
know.
himself like Joe Chill. And but you're right.
That's also
That's
there. That's
also
also there. Multiple layers
yeah.
and stuff.
I would
Oh,
say
there it
that
is.
that is also the most impactful part of the movie for me as well. And it's
By the
interesting
way,
that you
this
and I
is what
share
I
that one.
talked about in that one part when I said about a monster kind of Batman appearing and talking to
Yeah,
Bruce. But at one
because
point here,
basically,
look, you see this? That's
yes,
the manifestation of Bruce's persona appearing to Bruce Wayne.
right.
This is
Which we
something that
saw.
could have been in this.
Wow, wow.
Batman Ego. This is the comic. Look it up online.
Sure, absolutely. And it's
I,
interesting how you just gave us a third take, which is it makes sense because remember, in the memory of his mother, you saw the man bat jump out of the out of the out of the out of the tomb. Remember that when he had the
yeah,
dream
yeah,
with the man bat. That was his ego again, eating him up, eating up Bruce Wayne. So when you seen the Batman facing Bruce Wayne there, it's kind of like the Man Bat facing and eating up and devouring Bruce Wayne. Kind of like I see what you're
yeah.
saying.
Kind of
So that
like
you're
the like kind
saying
of like that. Yeah, that personification confronting Bruce Wayne in the
right,
moment of crisis he has.
yeah. Why it had an impact on me? I'm gonna tell you why it had an impact on me. Sometimes sometimes you feel you're doing the right thing, and really you're doing something terrible, and you excuse yourself from it, and you slip more and more into that. And for me, why I almost committed suicide was because I thought I was the thing that I hated the most, and I didn't want to be that, and I was feel like I was becoming that. So
You were
yeah, I was suicidal myself. Yes, I almost committed suicide. So I
oh
understand what Zack Snyder's daughter was going through, and I understand why suicide prevention and awareness and mental health is very important. And so for me, when I was seeing that moment where Batman finally found out what he was actually doing, I understand why he hurled the spear away, why he shouted, why he screamed, and all of that. Because he basically was about to commit um moral suicide. Like everything he stood for was about to be killed. If he had killed Superman, that's what he would have done. And he was on the verge of it when Superman was able to sort of trigger his attention to the fact that that he was about to do the very thing that killed his mother, right? So that was the only way Superman was ever going to get to him, because it had to be something personal. And but by chance, it was mostly by chance, Superman was able to finally tell Bruce Wayne what he came really to do. He really came to let Bruce Wayne know the plan that Lex Luthor was doing, but he didn't have time to explain that. So he said, "You're letting him kill Martha."
Yeah,
And he
five
had no
words
idea.
and the entire situation. The entire situation in 5 words, one sentence, and for some reason everyone keeps focusing on one word at the end of it.
Which is Martha, yeah. But to me, that was the most powerful part of the movie. That, and also when Lois Lane was speaking to him about hope, and he was that, even though it turned out to be something which was negative, he left her. I thought it was a very powerful thing as well. And for me, it's strange. Talking about hope is one of the strangest things in the world, because usually the only time hope is most valued is when you don't have it. Like if you lose hope, that's the moment when it really is the most precious thing in the world. And
Yeah,
so it was kind of interesting hearing her talk about it to
that kind
him.
of thing
He
happened with the
lost
Blue
hope.
Lantern.
Yeah. So
With
I thought that was beautiful as well. So it's those two things that really have a big impact on my life. Right now, I'm full of hope. Like I'm a very hopeful person. And it's one of the strangest things, because, and that's why I even keep Superman as my icon on Facebook, on Twitter, because he represents the one thing that keeps us going every day, which is hope. So, Zack Snyder made Superman so much bigger. Like you're saying, Superman is just the idea of a Superman is in the idea of not the physical things that he can do, but it's the inspirational things that he does for us. And so I think that's why Man of Steel and Batman v Superman had some impact on both of us, because we may understand situations where that actually happened. For me, it was not theoretical when I saw Bruce Wayne get impacted by Superman. Superman never hit him a punch. That wasn't what allowed Superman to win that war. It was touching him in a place where he needed to be touched at the time.
yes,
So I thought
and
it was beautiful in that respect. And I think
yeah,
what makes Zack Snyder's movies for me really great is not so much the action. The action's great. Don't get me wrong. The visuals is great. But when they say Zack Snyder's, this great visual director, that's cool. I mean, that's awesome that he uses visuals. Like even with the scene with Martha, the Martha scene where he went back and we saw how Bruce Wayne's journey into what he became, how it led to this point. The visuals did do that, but I think more than that, it was the emotional impact of these movies that I think
yes,
just far outweighs anything Marvel has ever done, because I can relate to these movies. I can't relate to the Marvel movies like that. They feel too Hollywood. They feel too fake. So that moment with Superman and Batman felt real, and the moment with young Clark Kent and Jonathan Kent felt very real to me. So I think that's what I think that's where we should look forward to in Justice League. I think Zack's going to do that again, because he's great at this humanity thing and this love thing that we all will all need, and the hero's journey. The hero's journey that he's painting.
yeah.
So we look forward to that. Daniel Steele says BBS to me is told through Bruce's perspective, detailing his deteriorating moral principles and his eventual path to redemption. It's about how humanity can do better. It's very biblical. All right, cool. That's Daniel
Yeah,
Steele.
that,
Oh, let me ask you, Dan, as you're there, how did that impact your personal life? Like I'm speaking about my personal life, suicide and all of that I almost went through, and also my journey back here, what was my place in the world. And Picochet was talking about, how he had to overcome a divorce and find out what, what he was
Yeah,
going
my
to do
parents
next.
divorced.
So how do you guys how do you, Dan of Steel, how does this appeal to you? I know you're a big Superman fan, Dan of Steel, instead of Man of Steel. So how did that impact you in your journey, and did you have any connection to it? Because this is, I think, why I like Zack Snyder's movies. I also enjoyed Owls of Gahul. I thought that was a great hero's journey movie as well. Sucker Punch is more of a victims uh
It's supposed
a
to be
victims.
something of the second wave feminism, something
Yeah, but even
or so.
so, I think of it even at a humanistic level. So like for me, it's kind of like somebody who was in a victim's mindset, but they overcame.
Yeah,
A mindset, they had a
there's
mindset first of all of being a victim, and then they overcame that, and they gained control of their situation, even at the
yeah
limited
there's
amount of control they had. So
yeah
that's how I look at
there
it.
was a yeah there was a reviewer or this guy called the Birdman with the number one being in the ice place, who went
Right,
through the cinema since video of Sucker Punch, and
right,
there was this point that he made about how the movie was about the second wave feminism, well, and told from women's perspective
right,
in that it was set in an asylum where the main character was in the middle of being lobotomized, and
right.
in her mind it was a cabaret, a cabaret, or what do you call it, what else it was in her mind. And the women who were in there, they were not literally selling their bodies, but they were what they were and they weren't in. Well, someone else could say this better than I could, but it had women dancing suggestively and revealingly to a bunch of men who saw it as harmless fun. And to women, it was not exactly kind of harmless fun because they were forced to stay in the cabaret and dance without a chance to go home or getting paid or anything else. They were victims in there, and it was told
They
from
were
their
exploited.
perspective how they didn't enjoy doing what the men enjoyed watching.
Right. So it was an exploitation, and there was a lead lady who was handling the affairs, and the story is basically that they're showing you this girl. She accidentally ended up killing her sister. She was being abused by her uncle, something like that. The sister was being abused by her uncle.
Stepfather.
Right. And stepfather. Sorry. Right. Correct. And she was trying to get back at the stepfather and accidentally shot her sister. So what the hell? Okay. So
Hmm.
it ended up that she ended up in this place, which was more of an asylum than it was a place for somebody who murders somebody. And I guess there was an insanity plea or something. And as a result of that, she was being exploited with the other woman. And this is where Sucker Punch comes in. And it's a sucker punch, right? The name Sucker Punch is because the real sucker in that whole entire movie turns out to be uh, the people who are exploiting them.
Yeah.
So that, it flips
Also,
the script.
there's a thing that the narrator of the movie was not the character we were watching. It was one of those girls who were with her at the asylum and the cabaret. So
Well, the girl who was with her wasn't really. That was really. That wasn't. The girl wasn't the girl was her. Like
yeah, but the narrator
she
was
was.
not her. Yeah, the narrator
Well,
was the one girl who managed to escape in the end, who was
that
later
one girl
seen
who managed to
at the
escape in
train
the end
station.
is her.
Yeah, yeah, that was the
She
narrator.
she the narrator is her. That woman
Yeah,
who escaped in the end is her.
yeah,
Now
that's the narrator.
the
And
right,
the girl who
but
was lobotomized, that was just the point of view character that we were
that's
watching.
her
The
again.
sucker punch was
That's her
that
again.
we assumed that she was the narrator, but then she was lobotomized, and then it was revealed that it was the other girl.
So what's interesting about Sucker Punch? It's kind of intellectual a bit. is that there are multiple personalities who are the same person. Remember, it's a story told from the view of a person.
Yeah.
So she's telling the story. Now, here's the funny thing about it, right? Lobotomization is supposed to be the worst possible outcome, but she chooses
Yeah.
that, right, in the end. However, the girl who goes on and is happily ever after story, remember, even though you're lobotomized, it doesn't mean that you, depending on where you're lobotomized, you're in continuously in nirvana. You're continuously
Mm.
happy. So she was
Yeah.
always smiling. She's just not connected to. So the girl going off into the sunset on the bus, remember the bus driver, the mythical guy and the bus driver?
Yeah.
They're going off to narrate the story to its end. She's mythically going off into the sunset back home. That's the mythic. That's the myth. And the
Mm.
storyteller was a myth. It was a fiction of her imagination, the girl who got lobotomized. So the story
That's one
ends.
interpretation. That
Yeah, of
basically it was
course.
that you watch the movie and you think it's something else, and then comes the literal sucker punch, and you're gone. Oh, it's but
Which is why it's called
yeah,
Sucker
that's
Punch. It's a very
yeah.
heady film. It's a very like there's many different ways to interpret it as well, and that's what I like about it. Like Zack Snyder's films make you think. It's not just
Mm.
a lot of people thought Zack Snyder was just a 300 mythical kind of storyteller, and they try to show that a lot of things he does doesn't make sense. But the reason why they do that is because Zack Snyder doesn't come from a Hollywood approach. He doesn't do the Hollywood thing, and he doesn't play into, I don't want to say who, but I think Hollywood's run by the CIA to some degree, and they have their certain agendas. That's why the Marvel films come out the way they are. But Zack Snyder don't play into that. In fact, in BVS, he actually was kind of giving an anti-CIA sentiment. If you think about it, he was kind of exposing how the real world really works and how the CIA works and all of these intelligence agencies work. And I'm not saying that they're good or bad, but he's just saying they work for themselves and the best outcome they can have. So, some of the underlying themes in BVS kind of fly in the face of Hollywood to some degree because he's saying men with power neither respect, rule or law. They do whatever they want, right? So he was kind of, and that's why people say it was nihilistic. Watchmen was nihilistic. Watchmen was nihilistic, but Batman v Superman was not nihilistic at all. There was an outcome. There was a reason why everything was happening the way it was happening, and Justice League will definitely bring that to the forefront. So I think a lot of people think of him as with Dawn of the Dead and with 300 and that he can't make movies and he doesn't know what he's doing. But we clearly as fans know that he makes meaningful films. Dan of
Yeah.
Steel says it's a shame that people look down upon Zack Snyder for being dark and edgy. It's funny sentiment, similar thing. And he said, just because he decided to go against the grain, which is an egregious misunderstanding of his artistic intentions. I think it's not that they misunderstand his intentions. I think they deliberately misconstrue it because they need to sabotage that because it's not giving the narrative that Hollywood wants out there. And Warner Brothers is known for putting out edgy movies anyway. So I don't know why I didn't just rock with him and just go all the way down to the end, but I guess everything happens in its time. And this is definitely a time for this movie. So looking forward to it with open arms. You know the song "Come Together" right now. That all of
Yeah.
that's gonna be in there. Down, 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 down.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It was going to be such a different movie to all the comic book movies we've seen before. It was going to be different. And now we get the opportunity, better late than never. And it's going to be even better, I think, than what he was going to put into cinema. So I'm looking forward to Justice League because I believe that this is what Zack Snyder does. He puts out movies that actually matter to people. And a lot of people's
Yeah.
lives have been
Movies
saved
that
through
people
this
will
movie.
still remember after years have passed.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
look, what I'm talking
7
about
years since
meaningful,
Man of Steel. People still talk about it. Watchmen was
right?
11 years ago. People still talk about it.
Even
Guardians of
Sucker Punch.
the Gaul, that's not very talked about. Being 300,
No,
it recently came up in a topic when people were calling out it the portrayal of masculinity of the Spartans and the xenophobic portrayal of Persians, and
Well,
yeah,
I
Dawn
gotta
of
be
the Dead
straight
is
with
also
people.
gonna be.
But the movie wasn't about that. The movie was about hope and odds, and these guys fighting for what they believed in. So
Mm.
it was only 300 guys versus thousands and thousands and thousands, and the might of Persia. It wasn't xenophobic Persia. Persia in all its splendor. In fact, the leader of Persia was considered a god. And this little man threw a spear, and he actually chipped God. He made him draw blood. All right, that was the whole point behind the movie. I mean, you can't say, yeah, I understand what some people say xenophobic for Persians. How you mean? Persians are given in the most powerful light ever, you know, and he couldn't stop the Persians, but it did turn about. 300 is an actual the guy who did the Dark
Frank
Knight
Miller did.
Returns.
Yeah, Frank
Right.
Miller
The
did it.
writer for what's the name?
Frank Miller did it.
Frank Miller. Right. There you go. So it was a comic book loosely based on history, right? So
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
Battle of
yeah.
Thermopylae. How did it pronounce in English? In Finnish, it's just called Thermopylaan taistelu. In English, it's just Battle of the Thermopylae. How's the
I
ending of
I
the
can't
name
even
go?
pronounce it right now. Right? I don't know. I can't remember. But what I can say to you is that no, people have been hypercritical of Zack Snyder's work because he's not really been doing as spectacular as he is. He's not really been doing Hollywood sort of stuff. You know, he's not really. He's more of an indie kind of guy, and he comes with ideas that a lot of people think are controversial or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think he's profoundly produced some really great comic book movies. I think BVS is his best comic book movie to date. I'm looking forward to seeing his movie Justice League, which probably is going to beat back
Yeah,
everything else that we've seen
yeah.
ever on
Also,
the
Army
screen.
of the Dead. Snyder's
Army of the
next
Dead's coming out as
Marvel
well.
movie.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
also well. Does that
It's
movie have a release date?
somewhere on Netflix. They'll let us know when it's time. They
Okay.
finished shooting them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that Gal Gadot's also in another movie too. I saw her latest film that they're gonna be putting out very soon, so that's good for her. And
Yeah. Good that they're acting. Working.
yeah, but she's doing her acting or modeling, that kind of thing. She's doing her thing. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm really excited for Zack Snyder's movies based on the fact that these other movies had so much substance in it. I mean, you can just go back into those movies anytime you want and see so much substance, like how people should react to each other or how to, raising kids and how difficult it is. And I think that James Gunn's producing of Brightburn helped to kind of put things in perspective, because I think Brightburn helped us to realize just how dicey it is to deal with something like that. And it's just amazing how these two
Yeah.
parents, Martha and Jonathan, were able to raise this thing, which is not a human, raise this
Mm.
thing and somehow manage to get it to have principles and stuff and not power hungry and lose its cool like we do as humans and obliterate everybody. So it's just amazing and scary at the same time to think about it. And I like that because comic book movies are great, but if they're not relatable and that you can't really see them in real life terms, because each one of us has a God complex in us. Each one of us has a God. How do I put it? We have God in us, and that we have these unbelievable abilities that we may not have tapped in, or we're afraid to tap in, or whatever. And when we start to show that to the world, we are really afraid to do so. And what that kind of made all of us in the Snyder Cut do is come out from underneath the. You're now a guy that's doing movies on videos on YouTube, and you're talking about your stuff. You weren't doing that before Zack Snyder stuff came out. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
made us come up from.
Although the only Zack Snyder thing that I have done was that short RKS has spoken video about the Snyder Cut coming out. After that, it's just been that. Well, after that, it was mostly just those Stargirl reviews, and then there was the Last of Us reaction video, and then that really uh, pretty much too passionate and angered reaction to that other guy who was talking about the theatrical Justice League and how it was and how the failure it was. And I think I didn't. I think that is something also. That's a video I'm not very proud of afterwards. I
Well,
even
you
say
know,
in the beginning that I'm not very proud of it, but there are other things about it that should be spoken of.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, man, we wrap it up right here. I'm gonna come back with another one probably tomorrow because it's gonna be day 2. It's good to see you, man. Pika Shades.
Yeah, it's great to have
Um,
to talk about things about this and other things and generally talk about things.
hey, what
Yeah.
we need to do is we need to cross the cross comic book cosplay because you're in cosplay again, and I feel like I'm not in cosplay. I like how you're in Pika Shades.
Yeah.
It's
It's
awesome,
that, yeah.
man. With the
It's
key.
this and that, and I also have a jacket that jacket and a different shirt that goes with the. Well, you will see what my profile picture
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
is. I have all those clothes. I have the four-pedaled t-shirt with the four-pedaled
I'm
neliapila
curious.
paita,
If
and the
you were
jacket
to
that.
be, oh great,
Yeah,
you get the pin up and the jacket. If you were to
yeah.
be a DC character, which DC character would you be?
Considering my current state of things, I think I would go with Ted Kord's Blue Beetle.
Okay, okay. So you like to be Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
Why is that?
The Ted Kord version, because Ted Kord is the guy was the technological guy. He had and he was all Ted Kord was also the guy on whom the Night Owl was based on.
Okay.
Also, there's the relatability to Ted Kord in that he was not that he was considering how he flew a ship, and when it came to the Justice League International, he was mostly in monitor duty. He didn't stay in the superhero shape very much, and then he had to. He ended up most of the time getting out of shape. And lately, I have not been able to get a new gym membership, and there are not many good jogging routes around here. So
Uh,
it's been my strength my shape has been going from the ripped it was a year ago to a little well
well, you're
lately.
having a good
So
life.
that's something
Let's just put it.
relatable I can
You're
think
eating
about with
well.
Bluebeat. Yeah.
All right, cool, cool, cool. Daniel Steele says his character that he would want to be in the DCEU would
Yeah.
be, or DC would be Cyborg. I don't understand it. What happened, Daniel Steele? You're not Superman anymore? My favorite character is Superman now. Superman's my best character. I would like to be Superman. You know, it used to be Batman, but I think I'm more. Even though I'm still more of a Batman character, I'm not really a Superman character. But I would prefer to be Superman. I would like to be somebody who would inspire the people and make them hopeful. But hey, Death Cord Blue Beetle.
Which one? The same
All
as me
right,
or Jaime Reyes version? Which one?
I don't know. You tell me. You
Yeah.
said which one?
Yeah.
Which
Write in
one
the
you prefer?
comments. Yeah, write in the comments and show me the comment. I can only see Dan's cyborg comment right now.
Well, that's it for our session for the show today. I want to thank Pika Shade for coming on the program, as well as I'd like to thank all the members in the chat section, from Dana Steele to Jay Niemeyer, Film Scorn, and DJ LNF, who I knew him as DJ Lost and Found. Oh, it's still Lost and Found, just LNF. So man, we're excited for DC Fandom. I can't wait to see it. And until then, man, guys, I wish you guys a great day. Stay safe. God bless. Stay out of the COVID-19 where you can. And if you do get it, I hope you recover quickly. Have a good one,
And
guys.
yeah. And as I say at the end of my videos, May your heart be your guiding key.
Oh, love it. Love it. Great. Later.